Go live now. All right, we'll be live in just a second here this morning. Ooh, I tell you what, some days and just some days we are here today, gathered here together to discuss the state of the state, the state of the union, and it looks to me like Nancy Pelosi has given up the mantle. I wanted to discuss, does anybody remember when Trump in his first, or no, it wasn't that. It was when the Republicans won the majority in the House. That was actually before Trump was elected, and she had that big gavel, and she was supposed to graciously hand it over, right? She was supposed to graciously hand it over. We're talking about Nancy Pelosi here now. And she held on to it as, I can't remember who she was tussling with. And it was a man, finally got it out of her hands and took the gavel. Yes. Well, love her or hate her, she has been quite an influence and quite a politician. At 85, I think she's long past due. I think sometimes you have to know, right, when to leave. When is it good to give it up? That's the question. That's actually a question, I think about that sometimes. What should one do? What should one do? And when we had Sharp Facets, it was, when is the right time to say, okay, we're going to step back? And so I think those are questions that as you age, you begin to realize that maybe I should start doing something different. Not that I'm ready to do anything different. I'm just saying, sometimes you think about it and you think particularly, this is totally off topic here this morning, particularly when you have contemporaries, people or people you've known all your life, and they leave us. They die. And it makes you think about, what is the future? How much time do I have? Should I be trying to cram in more? I don't know how much more I can cram into my life, but what should I do? So it's just something that I think as you age, it crosses your mind. What is the right thing or wrong thing? Which direction should you go? So I just thought I would mention that. But I think, Nancy, you have waited too darn long. It is about time that you have given up the mantle. You've realized, probably since they lost the majority and she was not the majority leader, she probably was just, I don't know why I'm still here. Nobody listens to me anymore. But she did have so much power. And I always did marvel how she was able to corral all the members on the Democratic side into one force. Nobody has been able to do that. Well, Jeffries is just not a very good leader, even though he says that Nancy Pelosi is his mentor. He certainly doesn't come forth with the strength to do the job, and simply just repeats over and over the same things. But that being said, Nancy Pelosi has been such a force, and they've been going back and playing little clips from her past and how she rose to power and everything, and pretty phenomenal story. And I think it is. I wish that our government could work together. You kind of wonder what would have been the way that this would have come together under a Nancy Pelosi. Could there have been more negotiation or not? Would they have let it go this long? Because it seems to me the longer this goes, the more we realize maybe we don't need a government. The way it's going, with the money's being cut off, and money's being cut off and people figuring out ways to survive without the federal government, I would think that some of these people would look at it, maybe we should go back to work because we could be out of a job. And I do think that that some of this could be the offshoot when they do go back to work. And what effect will this have on the midterms, I think is another question here. We just had a listener say, I'll never forget her tearing up the speech. Yeah, that was a good one. And throwing it in the air when Trump's State of the Union address. They were showing that last night. And you know the thing about it, the thing that I saw that last night again, and you know, she didn't do all the sheets at once. She did a few at a time, and then she'd do a few more, and she was purposeful about her doing it. It wasn't just a statement, oh, screw it, you know, and rip it. No, it was purposeful how she felt. There has to be something deeper than just a political divide with Nancy Pelosi and Donald Trump. There has to be something else because, I mean, when she said the other day, he's such a vile man, vile, worst ever. I mean, even she has to look at some of the things that have happened, i.e. the border and this type of thing, and say, you know, he's done well. What he's done overseas has been pretty darn amazing. No, they're not totally done, but Donald Trump has certainly moved the needle on overseas. He certainly has closed down the border. And so her total distrust, hate of Donald Trump is a little hard for me to believe. There has to be something else. There has to be maybe something in their past. No, I'm not suggesting anything like that. I'm just saying, who knows? Probably was a money deal that Nancy Pelosi lost out on some money because we all know that she has become insanely rich over being in the House. So maybe it was something like that. Maybe there was a money deal that didn't go through that she had invested in, but something has happened. All right. Anyways, so Nancy Pelosi being done, I guess we could say it that way, is going to be interesting going forth as to what people say afterwards. So that's all I was wanting to comment on. What will be the future of the Democratic Party? Of course, the Democratic Party will go on. Okay. Okay. Well, okay. All right. I'm going to say what somebody just said here in a minute. I'm going to finish about Nancy Pelosi. Nancy Pelosi, certainly what has been a force to be reckoned. I think in the last couple of years, she definitely has, maybe she can't deal without being on first. I don't know what it is, but there is something there that, or maybe she just gotten old and bitter. What the heck? Maybe she's just one of those old bitter ladies. I did think her announcement was like, I just know that it's time for me to go. She's just acting like she's so sweet and everything, when we all know the old biatch is as tough as nails and has gotten tougher as the older she's gotten. Sometimes, is that why they called old ladies old birds? Tough old birds? Yeah, because they have to be, right, to survive. I don't know. Anyways, that's just something. I'm totally off topic here, and I just wanted to say that. Well, you said it, Ann. That's enough. Okay. You know, if Jeff was here, he'd be coming to the door, and he'd be pointing his finger at me and saying, That's enough. Oh, there he is. No, he's not here. He's not here. Anyway, somebody just said, and there's absolutely no one that can replace you here in Greenwood. If you ever plan on moving on or to something else, I hope you get yourself an apprentice for about 5 years to take over before you do, or we're in trouble. That is so nice. That is so nice. Thank you very much. I really do try to be a good voice of Greenwood. I know sometimes our council members, county manager may not appreciate me, but I do try very, very hard to bring all sides and try to keep things straight here in Greenwood. So I really appreciate that very much, because sometimes you say to yourself, why am I doing this? But then again, you get a comment like this and you go, yeah, there is a reason. And somebody has to do it, right? Somebody has to do it. All right. Let's move on and talk about some other things. Yesterday I had the pleasure of being at the Veterans Lunch that was brought to you by Ashley Squared. They did a beautiful, very nice thank you to our veterans. And they actually let me introduce Doug Gilliam, Representative Doug Gilliam. That was a very big honor. You may know Doug. He is the House District 42 representative. He's also he is a commander, sergeant, major, retired in the U.S. Army. He was in the military for many, many years. Then he went on and was in the National Guard. He is on the military committee. I'm not sure I'm not saying it right, but the military committee in the legislature, and loves trying to do things for our veterans, understands what it is to be a veteran, understands that it's not just the veteran, it's the family of a veteran's family is involved, and the stresses. And one of the things that he emphasized in his speech yesterday was that they are family. And when you become a military, when you sign up for the military, you are part of a family. And it doesn't matter who you are, you support each other like family. And I think that was an important point. It was an excellent event. The food was good. Ashley Square did a great job. Everybody was commenting on the beans, and I found out afterwards the beans were specifically made, by Ashley Square, which is a local retirement nursing home here. So it was great. The place was packed. I do have some video to put up on our Facebook page. And when I walked up front, I took there were so many people you couldn't just take a picture. So I took a video of the whole group, spanning it from up there on the stage. So I've got that. I've got some speeches. Rosalind Burke was one of the speakers there too. Of course, she's the Veterans VSO for Greenwood, talking about all the services. So it was an excellent event. And I got to commend Jan Ramsey, who led us in a couple of songs. She coordinates a lot of the activities over there at Ashley Squared, and she's actually the chef. But she is very passionate about doing things for veterans. So all of them over there at Ashley Squared. But I wanted to give an extra shout out to Jan over there, Jan Ramsey. She does an excellent, excellent job for our veterans and for all of them over there. So plus they had some businesses there that are veterans-oriented businesses. They were pretty darn great too. All right, so that went on, and then, of course, we had the event at Grace Park. As I said before we went on the air, they talked about some of the history. That was very interesting, as well as talking about what it took to build the center, the cooperation that was there. And of course, this was built by the 2016 capital sales tax. I do find it interesting. I am just going to veer off here for a second. And I don't know whether they say it because of me. I would find that kind of self-centered, and if it did. But they are constantly pounding, and I mean pounding, the fact of the capital sales tax doing this. I want to go on record. I think a capital sales tax is a great way to do projects for your community. And if you'll notice, most all the projects that are coming through right now in 2025 and 2024 are projects that are from the 2016 capital sales tax. I have no problem with the projects that actually go back to there. What I had a problem with, and will probably continue to be watching on, is what happened when we did the, 2024 capital sales tax project. And I still have questions about how it was done. However, once the voters said, we like it, we want it, however it got done, I think that the decision is, and I have no problem with, the fact that we have the capital sales tax project. And when you look at some of the things that have been done in our community, they certainly make a difference. Sometimes it just comes down the way things were done, the way they were put forth. But that's in the past now. They made that decision. So I really don't think they need to pound it into our heads every time we turn around that this is the capital sales tax project. I think we all know that, and I think it's worth a mention. But I think we could relax a little bit on it. The decision was made. Let's just move forward, and let's look at the projects as they complete and be proud that Greenwood is able to do this. So, anyways, just another one of those things. As somebody just said, was the Gray Street Park, or was it the marketing plan for the 2030? See, that's what bothers me. You're absolutely right, Texter. One of the things that bothers me is like they pounded into our heads that this was a project from the capital sales tax. That was 2016. My hope for the future is when they start looking at the 2030, if I'm still here, is, will the projects be vetted properly? Will there be transparency in what they do? And I actually pride myself in some of the things that they were not being as transparent as they could be, and they started being more transparent when just a few comments were made like, well, why don't you do this? And I think transparency, I think more people should be allowed to be part of the project. There's a lot of things, but I'm not into that today. But it just does seem, and it seems since Robbie Templeton has retired, he has found himself a new position. And today's Friday, so I'm sure there's a new video from Robbie and probably on the Gray Street Park that will be out there. And I'm glad that he has found a new position. Maybe that was the plan all along when he retired, that he'd have another job. Don't think he's getting paid for it, but he certainly is approaching it with gusto. And for that, Robbie, we thank you for having the gusto to be out there and be on camera and pointing out all the good things in our community. There you go. Thank you very much, Ann Eller. Right. I don't take myself too seriously, but it seems like a lot of people do take themselves very seriously on these things. And and it seems like seems like we should come together instead of keep holding those little grudges that are out there. Okay, moving on. Gray Street Park is absolutely fabulous. That, I guess you call it a jungle gym, I don't know what you call it, is just magnificent. I kept saying, can I go on it? You know, is there a height limit, or I'm short, can I go on it? It even has a little place where you can, they can play almost like a xylophone. That I thought was wonderful. The double swings, the zip line over there, the little zip line, it's just so cute. I asked somebody, an adult, if they were going on it. They looked at me like, I think I'm too big. But all these things are really, really great. And I really hope that people take care of this park, that we don't see graffiti and this type of thing coming on it, because it is absolutely beautiful and they've done an absolutely wonderful job on it. The pump track, I had never really seen a pump track, but yesterday afternoon there were kids on scooters, bicycles, just all having a great time. There's a little skateboard park that looks kind of fun for those that are into that. I know I've told you my story about skateboarding in the past. I'll tell you real quick. I was on the cutting edge when skateboards were first coming into the United States. When skateboarding first came in, that tells you how long I've been around. I was a young entrepreneur at that point. And we were looking at importing skateboards. And we had a couple of samples. And my staff is all standing there looking at it, and I said, well, what's the deal? What are you supposed to do here? So they said, well, you just get on it and you kind of ride it. And I said, okay. So I jumped on it and I started pushing off with my foot. And that was going kind of cool. And I was in a big warehouse, but it had wooden floors. This was on a second floor and it had wooden floors. And so I'm pushing myself off and I'm doing pretty good. All of a sudden, I guess I must have leaned back a little bit or something. And the skateboard and I went flying up in the air and I landed flat on my back on the wooden floor. Now, this wooden floor was clean, but it had ingrained dust in it. So I go flying down. It's like instead of doing a snow angel, I did a dust angel. So I'm laying there. It knocked the wind out of me. And I'm laying there, and all my staff is looking at me like, is she all right? Is she going to live? And I'm trying to go, I couldn't breathe. Anyways, that was a long time ago, before skateboards were really big, and we did not end up importing them because I said no way. But I was the only one, and I had younger people there, and none of them would jump on the skateboard, so I had to do it. All right, I'm Ann Eller. You are listening to WCRS right here in Greenwood, South Carolina, right here on 98.5 FM and 1450 AM. All right, we've got to finish up here. What else do we have? They're talking about a penny shortage. I want to at least address this one. They're talking about a penny shortage. Well, back in April, they quit making pennies. I don't know what that's done to the price of copper. I forgot to look up that point. And Penny is looking at me saying, you're saying my name. What's going on, Mom? All right. So there is now starting to be a penny shortage. And so the question is, what do we do about it? But the bottom line is, it costs 2.5 cents to make a penny. So we were losing money on it. And in President Donald Trump form, he said, cut the pennies. See, you know what the difference between Donald Trump and so many others? Lots of these lots of these items out here have been identified in the past, only nobody's been willing to say, cut the penny. So I guess that's part of it. He is willing to make those decisions that a lot of people, well, we got to let the Congress, well, we got to let the Senate, well, we got to do this. No, Donald Trump just says cut the penny, and sure enough, and then of course the Supreme Court ends up getting involved and yada, yada, yada. One thing that I am disappointed in, though, I will say this, I am disappointed in our federal government. I did think that after the election that they would say, okay, evidently from all that I am reading, that this is given the Democrats to feel they might have the upper hand because they did so well in their elections, that they're seeing that as a sign, so they're not giving in, and they're going to try to make the Republicans give in. This cutting flights, 10% of the flights. This is not a good thing. We only have, 2.5, 3 weeks to Thanksgiving. What is this going to mean for people? And the problem is, if you are making decisions about flying somewhere, going somewhere, you need to be making these decisions now. So this could be disastrous on our travel industry, number one, and this federal government shutdown is hurting the economy. The billions of dollars that the SNAP program is taken out of the economy. Now, the Supreme Court has just said, no, you've got to pay all the benefits for this, so they're going to have to find the money from somewhere during a government shutdown to pay this. But is it really right? Is it really right that they have to pay this when we have air traffic controllers that are having to find jobs somewhere else in order to support their families? Is it really right that we just keep going on with cutting back on things? It is an insane, and the end of the year. And is this really a way to show that Donald Trump's economy is not as good because we're hurting it by cutting out this service and cutting out that service? Now, I agree. SNAP program, there are things that should be cut on this. And even when I talked to the lieutenant governor yesterday, I didn't really find her answer satisfying to me. They were saying this was a first step, but we already know what the outcome is going to be with the food banks trying to supply food. The lines are long. The people are not getting the food that they need. But I do think what Louisiana did, and I point out Louisiana because Louisiana decided that they would pay food stamp benefits to those who really needed them, i.e., people, seniors, parents with children, and those on disability would get their benefits. Now, I think they're called AWOBs, able-bodied can work or something like that. They said they were not going to pay those. But you know what? Those people can get themselves to the food bank if necessary. Those people can go out and get a job. Those people can be doing more. And that's why the federal government, a law was passed that said they had to work at least 20 hours a week or volunteer somewhere for 20 hours a week or be in school for 20 hours a week. That was this. So I think Louisiana made a good decision. And that is a Republican governor, Jeff Landry, who made this choice. But South Carolina is saying, we'll let the food banks, we'll let the people do it. Well, I think that's fine. I think that's good And I think we need all aspects of this. But I don't think that our seniors who get very little money from SNAP, or mothers with children, or those on disability should be cut out and have to try to survive on food stamps. On food banks. That's just my personal opinion. But I do think there are more creative ways. But the very fact that they have a way to shut off part of this based on what you are classified as, I think is a huge benefit and allows them to make people get out and work. We also have the soup kitchen. In Greenwood, we have a soup kitchen that helps out with helping feed. We also have in the schools the breakfast and the lunch program. But as money tightens, a lot of the money that has been flowing that we, the people, pay is going to be cut down. So as this thing drags on, it is horrendous the effect it's going to have on the end of the year economy. I tell you another thing, it does not look real positive for Donald Trump and the tariffs that he has in front of the Supreme Court. What decision are they going to make? And I know there's a lot of people that don't support Donald Trump. But there are a lot of good things that have been put in place. And somebody actually had to come along. We needed somebody that was willing to do this, regardless of what you say about the man, that is willing to make decisions. And that's what a leader has to be. Right, wrong, or indifferent, you make a decision. So while people can rail against the fact of what Donald Trump is doing, somebody had to step up to the plate. And he has done that. Not everything that he's doing is probably 100% right, but he's been willing to step up, and he's been willing to follow what the Supreme Court or judges have said. Now they have gone back into court where it was necessary. So I think he deserves an A for effort. And he has made a tremendous difference in some aspects of our lives. But this shutdown has got to stop. Or we may decide we don't need a federal government. And our country may go into shambles. And I don't think anybody really wants that. We are on a roll. The people need to come together however they need to. We can blame it on the Democrats. A large part does go to the Democrats. But what are the Republicans doing to bring it together? Are they, and that's not capitulation. It is just bringing people to the table to get this done. And it just seems like it's not going to end. I hate to say it. But maybe I'm wrong. Let me look up here at the TV. What does it say? Trump-Orban meeting to focus on Russian oil. Nothing to do with getting over the shutdown. Oh, well. All right. I got a couple things to announce, and then I got to get out of here because I got a lot to do today, and I got more to report on. Okay, Frank's Car Wash is doing half-price car washes for veterans on Veterans Day. So if you are a veteran and you were thinking about paying for a car wash, you got Tuesday. If you can hold off till Tuesday, or if you want it, they're doing half-price car wash. So for veterans on Veterans Day. So that is a really good benefit for our veterans. Main Street United Methodist Church is having a craft and food market Saturday this Saturday at the Fellowship Hall and Gym, 211 Main Street North, 9 to 2. Entry is canned food donation, and they'll have holiday gifts, homemade crafts, handmade crafts, and festive foods and more. And they'll have the Bountiful Bites Cafe, which really interests me. You know, I like the little bites, little tastes of things. If you need more information, you can call them at 864-229-7551. The Valor Program, as we've discussed many times before, is coming up on November 13th. If you are a veteran and you need help with a legal issue, check it out. Now, they will be doing basic wills, living wills, and power of attorney, and it is for veterans and their spouses. Veterans and their spouses. But you need to make an appointment. 864-450-9268. They will be there from 9 to 2, but they are not taking walk-ins. You need to make an appointment. 864-450-9268. And don't forget the Veterans Day Parade on Sunday. Sunday at 2 p.m. Says a rain date of November 16th, but I think the parade's going to happen on Sunday because the weather looks good. Parade at 2 p.m. Location, the parade will begin at the South Main Street Baptist Church and proceed up Main Street, ending at Hampton Shopping Center. So if you have a question or you want to see if you can get into the parade, call George Watson at 864-229-0726. That's 864-229-0726. They would love to have you on the sidelines cheering on our veterans. And they also have, is this where it is? Oh, the Girl Scouts are going to be collecting, Girl Scouts will be collecting hats and gloves, winter hats and gloves for veterans, and then giving during the parade. So you literally can bring them to the parade. The Girl Scouts will come over, just hold them up, and the Girl Scouts, as they're marching along, will come and pick them up. This project is more than just collecting items. It's about showing appreciation and care for those who have served our country. And so this is an important event, and it would be great if you could support them, So just bring coats. Well, if you have a coat, that's fine, but hats and gloves are what they were specifically asking for, and then they will give those to the Veterans Center. There's a lot more. Oh my God, there is a lot more. Have you ever noticed we never have just a little in this community? We have a lot more. So let's see what else we have that we would like to share with you today as I get ready to finish up here. Oh, it says I'm live on the air when I go to my Facebook page. How about that? Are you watching? All right. There is going to be at Hodges, they are having their first annual Community Thanksgiving service November 21st at 6:30 at the Hodges Fire Department. Come for a time of thanks and many blessings. So that is coming up on the 21st, first annual Hodges Community Thanksgiving. That's coming up. Also, this is over in Ware Shoals, and I don't think I have enough details, but I'm going to say what I can say. Come see us November 8th, 11 to 6, Handmade Market Craft Vendor Fair, presented by the Happy Duck Coffee. Saturday, November 8th, this is over in Ware Shoals at 11 o'clock. It is at the Larry Trainum Center. So they would love for you to come by and see that and have a good time. And Happy Duck Coffee will be presenting it. So that is pretty cool. Just thought we'd give them a shout out on that. If you are interested, coming up on next Friday on the 14th, Uptown Greenwood is having a Uptown Uncorked. You probably need to sign up for that. Tickets are $33.85. Mark your calendars for the Uptown Uncorked Wine Walk. It'll be a night of strolling, sipping, and savoring. I wonder if there'll be any skipping in Uptown Greenwood. Gather your friends and get ready for an unforgettable evening of wine, shopping, and community. So that's sponsored by Uptown Greenwood. So also on Saturday, November 15th, they are having holiday fun with Uptown Friends at Main and Maxwell. I've got all kinds of activities. This is just the time of the year where so much is going on. So that's a few of the things. I did have some other things I'd love to tell you about. But tomorrow, we will be live right here on the air, and I will try to have a good list of all the things that are coming up, not only on Saturday, but coming up futuristically. Oh my God, I forgot about this. It's today's, I think, is it today is the big day for the opening of Wendy's. Stop by on Thursday and Friday for a chance to win free burgers for a year. That is the new Wendy's on South Main. So you got to get by there and check that out. I think they must have opened. I guess they opened yesterday. But they're doing a big deal Thursday and Friday. Register to win free burgers for a year. So if you would like to get free burgers, please get out there and register and check out the new Wendy's on South Main. Also, there is a Veterans Day parade over there in Honeypath. That is on Saturday at 11 a.m. Giving a shout out over there to Honeypath. Oh, there's my little video. I did quite a cool video of yesterday at the park. That is at the Grace Park. That is on our Facebook page, and wow, it's gotten a pretty good viewing of it. If you didn't have the time to go, check out the video. It really gives you a good, they cut the ribbon, and then I spent probably, 15 minutes or so walking around, talked to some people, but also gave you a great view of the park so you could actually see what was going on, and I had a great time doing that. There is also South Carolina Entertainment and Music Hall of Fame this Sunday, November 9th, another great event. Join us at the Upstate Salute. There'll be a long stage along country star Daryl Worley for an unforgettable day celebrating South Carolina's veterans at Fluor Field. So the concert is Daryl Worley and Ryan Spencer, plus military tributes, veterans exhibits, and spectacular vintage aircraft flyover. Well, I love that. Sunday, November 9th, gates open at 2, concert begins at 4. All ticket proceeds benefit the Upstate Veterans Alliance. So you can get your tickets at upstatesalute.com. Upstatesalute.com. It says, don't miss our special on-stage presentation with the Wounded Warrior USA and the South Carolina Entertainment and Music Hall of Fame. What a great event that is going to be. Do I have anything else? Yes, I do. I do want to mention this. This isn't until next Saturday at the Chick-fil-A at the mall, 9 to 11 at the mall location. It's going to cost $25, but they're teaming up with their Teddy Bear Mobile of the Lakelands. Meredith, good job out there. And they're going to have something moverous to Greenwood. They're going to have a Build a Cow event, a hands-on experience your family will love. $25 per cow. That starts Saturday, November 15th, and that is at Chick-fil-A. So this is going to be a good thing. You do have to register. They said it's going to be utterly adorable, and we can't wait to see you there. But it does say you need to register. Space is limited. So there you go. Check that out. And that, my friends, I think is going to do it for today. I got people coming. I got people to talk to. I'm sorry. Have a great day. Have a great weekend. Don't forget about the parade on Sunday at 2. It'll be about an hour. Well worth bringing you, your family, your kids, your grandkids. Come out and support our veterans. Have a great day. Join me tomorrow morning and I'll be loaded for bear. Well, not exactly. I'll be loaded with lots of events to tell you about, and I hope you'll be prepared to tune in. Don't know what I'm doing yet, but tune in. We'll be having a good time as we always do on Saturday morning. Trash to treasures along a country road. Let's see. Let's drop the curtain. Penny's going, what the heck are you doing? Can you please shut up? Yeah, she can't wait to be a co-host. We've had to have some discussion about that. Okay, let's drop the curtain. Let's play the music. There we go. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye, everybody.